Steve Evans, 1st of September, long day for you?
Well, you never know in this game, do you? I thought it was going to be a really exciting day, but unfortunately, after getting an agreement with the club, Cristiano Ronaldo does not want to join us. so we thought if he was still going to commit, we'd throw a hat in the mix. But no, we're going to do some business for sure, 100%. Unless there's U-turns in the next 5 or 6 hours, then we'll add to the group.
When you get to this stage, does it kind of almost guarantee you're going to have a long day? Because I'd imagine that Stevenage are fairly down the pecking order.
Well, I think we might have been down the pecking order in the past, but we're certainly not today. I think the lads that we're looking to bring in today have been subject to speaking to different managers and different clubs over the last week, if you like. We've had to be patient because clubs have had commitments in terms of games. We've also had to be patient because they're trying to get their own squad in order and get players in. And but I think we said it. We're not going to sign players that everyone will go, wow, what a signing. But our dressing room and our staff and our board will know what we're signing.
And I guess the rest of the squad are almost waiting for the cavalry. It's been a long grind to this point, but they'll understand that there is a need for to bring numbers in.
Yeah, I think like any dressing room, they want to see is that we've got 1 or 2 more bodies just to cover all eventualities. But it's not just been one way. I've been very fortunate. The chairman's turned down a couple of offers for players that we've got. So it's been 2 ways. And the wonderful thing about Phil Wallace is he discusses all of it with you, copies you in all the correspondence. And the chairman's overseas, but I was on the phone with him till very late last night, and dare I say it, very early this morning. So he's very much involved in it. So, providing we get signatures on contracts today, then I'll be humble to the board and the chairman and Leon, of course, who often got stick for no reason because he doesn't pick the players. He tries and gets them in for you. And he's been through the clock, round the clock as well.
How does it work? I mean, obviously there's a list out there of players that are available that maybe go and, you either show an interest or you don't. But do you get them in for training first, or are there some players that you just...
No, I think you have to judge them on what you've seen. We're not going to bring a player, we never have brought a player in the building that we've not watched firsthand. Probably 99% of the cases me, but sometimes Paul or Ravel. We'll discuss it with staff. Then we'll look at a multitude of things. Then we'll look at all the footage that we've got available to them. And that's now extensive in football. You can look at any game anywhere in the world, so we can get that instantly if we like. And then we look at the character and the person, and we try and do a background check. So when all that takes, that's the simple part. The hardest part is for us is to sometimes get the financial agreements in place to get them here. I don't need to blow smoke up our chairman's, side. It's just he's been absolutely outstanding since the day I walked in, and he's come to the fore last night and helped us with some more. So that's good.
Talk about the week we just had as well. First taste of defeat, but a good way to bounce back on Tuesday night. Yeah,
it was painful on Saturday, and you then every manager, every player, every supporter knows what it's like to get a last minute winner, and everyone knows what it's like to concede a last minute goal, either to draw or lose. And Saturday was particularly difficult for me, not because I didn't think we deserved to win the game. But I probably think a draw was a fair result, given the big chances in the game. The big chances came to us. The biggest chance of all comes, 8 or 9 minutes before they score. So that made it, and we didn't defend it properly. There's 3 or 4 mistakes that led to the goal, not one error. But it's also a fantastic strike. So you take that pain, and when we addressed the group Sunday, Monday, we spoke about character. We spoke about that old word that's been around now for a few years, bounce back ability. And we did, and we said it's about result. Performance normally leads to the result. I'm not so sure it did on Tuesday, but we come away with a victory, and it puts us in a good stance, as in we added some money to the coffers. And I know I got a text from the chairman that says every penny helps, and he's right. So that was good on Tuesday evening. And little things like that, I think, go a long way with ultimately your chairman and your board are making a decision on whether we're going to back another player or two. Then it helps when the first team staff and players are doing just everything they can. Doesn't mean you're winning everything, but you're doing everything you can to help the funds.
Is there the sign of tiredness in there amongst the squad? They've played Saturday, Tuesday, and short of numbers.
Yeah, no. There was a bit of a tiredness in David Demure all evening. I think David was off it, but he's not had that pre-season. These games are wonderful for him. The Papa John's and the Carabao Cups, they're wonderful for him to get up to speed. And he's now got on a fitness regime with Alec Verna. He's been placed on that for 3 weeks, so he'll become fit very quickly. But I think the other players are super fit. You know, we've had a wonderful pre-season. We've had most 98% of the group available all the time, if not 100%. And anyone who joins our group will realise how fit they are. So we're fresh and ready, and we're looking forward to a tough game at Crewe. And then we get a week in which the boys have not a lot of game time or catching up on game time, like David. We'll have a training ground game somewhere and we'll play there early part of next week. And then we'll bounce in and be ready for Sutton.
You talk about fitness and another late goal. I suppose it wasn't a late goal in Stevenage terms of late, but it was, 85th minute?
Yeah, I think the introduction of when we made the substitutes, Arthur and Jamie Reid and Jordan Roberts had just sort of re-energised the group and made us believe we could go forward and win. And probably in one of the few minutes of composure, if you like, where we have a good period of play, gets a corner and it comes out from the corner and it's a great one-touch little volley by Jason Taylor. And of course, it's Jason Taylor, it's not Jason Taylor. Jake Taylor, a little cushion volley out to Reid. He takes a wonderful touch. And the ball is saying, someone hit it. And you don't want anyone else rather than Piergianni and Sweeney attacking them because they take everything with them and it's the goalkeepers get no chance. I think they're on in. The biggest credit I can get, it takes until almost the last kick of the game for Porsche to make a half chance, and they had some wonderful players on show. So it's a good win for us.
They're a big threat, aren't they, the two centre backs?
Oh, they're a massive threat. I think when we send if we had everyone available and we get some aerial presence. We've got some power. You put Piergianni in there, you put Sweeney in there, you put Van Kooten in there, you put Boswick in there, you put Norris in there, you put Rose in there. It takes a hell of a lot to handle them because any one of them in isolation will go and win big headers. So, but we just showed. I think on Tuesday it was almost like when they come back in the dressing room, it was almost the lads saying back to normal. We've won a game, back to normal. And the feeling was relaxed on the way back on the coach. It was calm, it was measured, it was almost like that's what we do.
On Saturday, you come up against Crewe. We mentioned it earlier. Crewe, probably one of the best footballing clubs at this level, and they have been for a while. New manager who's been there probably doesn't know any other way. Is it going to be the similar sort of Crewe that we'd normally see? Yeah, very much so. Total football. I sat yesterday afternoon and watched a full rerun of the game at Bradford. And as much as I've heard a lot of comments come out from Bradford saying Crewe sat in, they sat in, but they passed in counter-attack with some great finesse. Should have won the game 2 or 3 for me because they made the big chances, and they passed their way up the pitch, but very quickly, and attacked with pace. And but technically they're a super side. They're a club who've got their own way, aren't they? They've always recruited well and brought youngsters through. I think it goes back for decades, doesn't it? It goes back for decades, and that's why often, you would go and watch Crewe at home, and you would probably see everything from the Premier League down in terms of managers and coaching because it was a joy to watch. They didn't always win, and I think when you play a passing team, there has to be an end product and success, and I think they've had that more in recent years than what they've had in the past. So we have to have a game plan to compete with them on Saturday. If it ends up a total football match and it's total passing it and playing and going to play, they win. But we have a style, we have an identity, and we've got to try and put that onto Crewe. And how is your school? Yeah, we're good. Michael Boswick will be back tomorrow. He's had a training programme yesterday and today up at home, so he's gone through that. Spoke to Michael 6:30 this morning. He's rather drowsy when I rang him. But we got in touch and he's doing his plans. He'll come back in the building and hopefully Danny Rose will train tomorrow and ready to travel to Crewe. But we'll also see what we can bring in the door today, because whoever we bring in the door today will, subject to everything being right and medically right, that'll be extensive, then they'll be on the coach up to Crewe tomorrow after training as well. Just go back to today, the transfer deadline. What's it like for you? Do you get a chance to get out on the training pitch, or will you
fully on the phone and talk to people?
Yeah, I think it's one of the. I never take my phone on the training pitch, but I will today. It's one of them that something can happen that you least expect. Something can happen in a whim, and that's in and out. As much as I've said, no one's going out of the building. That's our chairman's words. But I think we all agree everyone has a price. So sometimes that can happen. But in terms of our incomings, we're a long way down the road with them. A long way down the road. I don't want to be here having a Papa John's pizza at 10 o'clock at night. I want to be sitting at home having and watching football. So, but transfer deadline, you just literally as a manager or a coach, you don't really know where you're going if you're the one that heads it up to the chairman.
Is it just like sort of curse of modern football, or is it something you just embrace and get on with?
I think you embrace it and you get on with it. I think as managers, we've all gone home thinking nothing's going to happen, and suddenly you get a call. And I think as the manager or head coach, it's your duty then to head back. I've had it. I think every club I've been to, I've been involved in deals at 8 and 9 o'clock at night, and it's no one ever wants it to go to that stage. The supporters always ask why that happens, and it simply happens because someone can come in for a player. So someone else will get a player, someone will release a player, someone will be prepared to let someone go for a few months. Someone you've asked about 6 months ago wasn't available. Suddenly they get the opportunity to take someone and it all changes. So it literally is a bit of harem scarum. But if our plan comes to perfection today, we'll go home at 5, 6 o'clock and we'll have the business done for the day up very early.
There's a cracking video that's reappeared on social media of Barry Fry on a deadline day back in the 90s, sort of with a player and an agent, and he's sort of negotiating, and it's just wonderful.
Yeah.
Is that what you're like, or is it
No,
different?
I'm not the Barry. Barry's a one-off. Listen, Barry Fry calling me today's deadline, and if there's anyone in the Peter United camp that Barry still has to move, and that's Barry's remit, is ins and outs, and he does that very well with Dara. Then he'll be on the phone, but he is, having worked with a guy, he's a magician. He can sell sand to the Arabs, you know. He's a wonderful tactician how he manoeuvres it. But you know, we're nothing like that. I think we're just trying to do a business in a way that, I think you said earlier, we're Stevenage. We know where we are. We sit in the pyramid, but we also know where we want to be. We know what objectives are, and hopefully that's resonated, whatever the word is, with a couple of young players today. Is that right, guys?